back to science-based violence on Tony's MMA Corner. Today we're tackling a question that triggers more arguments than who's the GOAT or fighter pay. We're talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Specifically, can modern sport Jiu-Jitsu actually be effective in the brutal, violent, knee-to-face world of MMA? For decades, BJJ was the secret sauce, the cheat code, the thing that made tiny Brazilians choke out giant barbarians. But is that still true? Or has the art evolved into something too gentle, or whatever this is, for the cage? Let's dive into the data. Back in the primordial soup of MMA, BJJ was practically a superpower. Royce Gracie, the skinny guy in the pajamas, choked out everyone from sumo wrestlers to boxers. He was the dude that put on a wig, but kept his mustache to compete against broads. They didn't have a shot. No one knew what a guard was. They didn't understand why a man would want to wrap his legs around another man. I mean, why would you want to do that to a man who's trying to assault you? It seemed counterintuitive. They tried to punch, and suddenly they were tangled up, limbs going places they shouldn't, tapping before they even knew what happened. This wasn't just effective, it was mystifyingly dominant. These little brown dudes were sorcerers. Pure, unadulterated violence efficiency. You didn't need to strike, you just had to get a limb and apply the scientific squeeze. It was a beautiful, terrifying era for anyone who didn't know BJJ. But then, MMA evolved. Fighters started training takedown defense, wrestling, and most importantly, ground and pound. And BJJ, it evolved too. The gi became a fashion statement. And sport, BJJ players started emphasizing these stalling guards over dominant positions that led to submissions. We got the rise of the lapel guard, the worm guard, the scissor guard, the donkey guard, reverse cowgirl. A lot of these guards were designed for points and control in the gi, not for survival against elbows to the face. You can't hang upside down in a berimbolo for 3 minutes if some dude is trying to smash your face in with a hammer fist. The data clearly shows when punches are allowed, submissive guard pulling turns into pre-KO position acquisition, which might get you pregnant. They're not guards, they're tickets to Smash Town, and not the one your single mom gives everyone, the one that gives you CTE.
Now it's about my kids. I want to outlive my children. Of course, 100%.
Now we have to talk about the no-gi revolution. For a while there, no-gi BJJ went through a weird, dark phase. It became a literal foot fetish cult. Every match was just two guys sitting on their butts, staring at each other's toes, and diving for heel hooks like they were hunting for truffles. The Danaher Death Squad led the charge. Look at them. Deadly. Guys like Gordon Ryan started making money.
They said another gave you niggas money!
And the world thought that learning BJJ for fighting was for unks. However, diving for heels in the cage isn't a strategy. It's a consented concussion request. And in 2025, we all know about consent. No diddy. But there is hope. Thanks to the popularity of the ADCC rule set, the meta is finally shifting back to sanity. Because ADCC penalizes butt scooting and rewards takedowns, the nerds are actually using their powers to learn how to wrestle. It's no longer just about the gentle art. It's about aggressive, positional dominance. The modern no-gi athlete is becoming a wrestling submission hybrid, and that is a terrifying prospect for anyone in the UFC. They aren't just looking for your heel anymore. They're looking to put you through the canvas and maybe take your heel home as a souvenir. So, is BJJ dead in MMA? Hell no. The Chad modern grapplers aren't trying to score points with a collar sleeve guard in the middle of a ground and pound storm. BJJ practitioners like the Tackett brothers, the Ruotolo brothers, and Dorian Olivares have the potential to put BJJ back in the good graces of MMA fans, with the Ruotolos already undefeated in MMA. And I believe Dorian Olivares has an ultimate goal to be an MMA champion. Where Royce Gracie failed, they have a chance to flourish. So what does work? Forget the fancy reverse De La Riva against someone who wants to take your head off. In MMA, BJJ is not easy, but it is simple. The body triangle is effective if you still want to wrap your legs around a man. Chokes like the arm triangle and the DARS, or if you want to call them strangles because you're autistic like John Danaher. The OG rear naked choke is always effective. Controlling posture from guard, preventing the opponent from striking, breaking them down, and creating scrambles. It's not about being a bottom anymore. It's about being strategic and using the threat of jiu-jitsu submissions to create space for those scrambles and to be a top. Pause. We can't talk about modern efficiency without looking at the Aussie inmate meta. The Australians have developed a very specific, very violent brand of jiu-jitsu that I call the barrier reef protocol. Unlike the traditionalists who want to hug you for 15 minutes, the Aussies, led by the degenerate Craig Jones Research Group, use BJJ for one thing and one thing only: aggressive rejection. They don't use BJJ to stay on the ground. They use it as a positional restraining order.
No means no, you can't.
Look at guys like Volkanovski or JDM. Their BJJ isn't about sweeps or lapels. It's about wall walking and high IQ scrambling. They use elite grappling knowledge to calculate exactly how much gravity they can ignore to get back to their feet and punch you in the throat. It's anti-BJJ BJJ. They've mastered the art of being unpinnable. While the rest of the world is playing chess on the mat, the Aussies are playing kinetic escape room. They treat your submission attempts like a minor inconvenience using a just stand up philosophy. Backed by terrifying high-level leg locking and wrestling defense, it's simple, it's brutal, and it's proof that the best BJJ in MMA is sometimes the BJJ that keeps the fight from actually becoming a BJJ match.
Just like only John Jones could beat John Jones, only BJJ can beat BJJ.
In conclusion, BJJ has always and will always be effective. Just not 90% of the stuff you see when you pay $125 for the privilege to compete at an IBJJF tournament. Nowadays, guys just use jiu-jitsu to beat jiu-jitsu and then stand up and have bad kickboxing matches to please you bloodthirsty animals.
Drop a comment below. What's your favorite MMA BJJ moment? And do you think modern sport BJJ is too soft for the cage? Let me know your unsolicited expert opinions. And I'll see you next time for more science-based violence.
If you like the video and want to support the channel, like, subscribe, comment. If not, then you are a science denier.